And, of course, chaos creates the opportunity, doesn't it? I mean, the chance to maybe just pinch a couple of games against teams who are a little bit underdone or travelling a little bit worse than you. So, opportunity knocks tonight for both these teams to pick up a win. As we take a look at the WNBL ladder, because they both certainly need a win as we roll into our Friday night action. Now, bear in mind the ladder is sorted by winning percentage, given teams have played a different number of games. At the top of the table, the Lightning, the Boomers, the Lynx have all stood out as potential championship contenders. The Spirit, well, their season recommences at 1-3, and despite that win-loss, they've played some exciting basketball. Pieces of that puzzle starting to fit together. Townsville, well, they're starting at 2-2 after back-to-back wins over Sydney and Adelaide, followed by back-to-back losses to Southside and the Caps. Well, the Bendigo Spirit, clobbered by COVID in recent weeks. Almost every player and every coach, Tracy York, fortunately one of the exceptions, has been hit by the illness. She's had to run shorter, lighter training sessions as a result in the lead up to the weekend because they play 4 games in 8 days. No Tessa Levy this evening. She's in the protocol for being a close contact, Laurie. No Leilani Mitchell. She's pregnant, therefore will take no part in the season. But they play fast, they play hard, they play aggressive small ball. It's fun to watch.
Well, it certainly is, and they'll be really keen to sort of test the waters, see how they feel coming out of COVID. I think it'll be a challenge for Tracy to make subs and be aware of how everybody was feeling, because it's not only just an isolation, but when you come out of COVID, you're just not really sure how you feel and how the body is going to react when you're put under pressure, game pressure.
Townsville Fire, they've been a WNBL benchmark for most of the last decade. Grand finalists, 6 of the last 9 seasons and 3 championships in that time. Runners-up last season at Southside in Shannon Seabomb's second season. They retained the bulk of that talented senior core that got them there, the likes of Opals, Lauren Nicholson and Zatina Akuzo, alongside pros like Nadine Payne and Steph Reed, Michaela Cox, 3-time champion Mia Murray, and then added a couple of imports as well. Monique Billings, unfortunately, won't be there tonight. She's got a knee injury, but they've got the talent base, don't they, Laurie, to suggest they could be there and thereabouts once again.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they sort of cover the loss of Monique Billings. If you look at the stat line, you know, she's their main scorer, she's their main rebounder, she brings a lot of energy. But again, whenever a player is missing, there's always the opportunity for somebody to step up. And in this case, Mia Murray has been inserted into the starting lineup, and we know what a legend she is of our game, and I think she's a very apt replacement.
And then we'll just kind of pad and fill until tip, yeah?
with McNamara, shot up and that's good.
Just like that, Wilson from 3 trains it. Garvin again, same one. This time she trains it. What a performance from the Lynx.
Round 8 of WNBL action continues with a Friday night clash at Bendigo Stadium as the Spirit hosts the Townsville Fire. Two teams looking for a win to kickstart their rise up the ladder. Both have dealt with their COVID challenges in recent weeks, but through the worst of those, keen to get back on court and build some momentum as we kickstart 2022 of WNBL. We welcome you to Friday night action. Jason Bett alongside coaching legend Laurie Chiswick. It's the Spirit and the Fire. And Laurie, this matchup, well, it's a fascinating one, isn't it? We're not exactly sure what to expect. The Spirit in action for the first time since December 22. The Fire for the first time since New Year's Eve. It's almost like they're starting over.
I agree, Jason. It's like a new season for them, and I expect that we'll sort of see a few cobwebs that need to be dusted off in the first quarter. But you know what? It'll be up to the coaches to see how they can rotate. The effects of COVID we don't know about yet, so a lot of these players have been down with it. They've recovered, thankfully, but they've been in isolation, so it will be fascinating to see how this games. But regardless, I think both teams will have that fierce competitiveness and that desire to get the W today.
Definitely in uncharted territory, no doubt about that, as we check out the WNBL ladder, as we roll into our Friday night action, and bearing in mind that the ladder's sort of by winning percentage as opposed to the total number of wins, because teams obviously played various different numbers of games given the stop-start nature of the season. The Lightning, Boomers and Lynx have all stood out early as potential contenders. The Spirit recommencing at 1-3. Townsville restarting at 2-2. They had back-to-back wins to start the season, then back-to-back losses to Southside and the Caps. So really critical game for both these teams to try and build a little bit of momentum.
Well, it is, and this is what we talk about, getting those wins early on, and if this is the start of their season, it is really important to get those wins now so that gap doesn't get too big for those top 3 teams.
Well, the Bendigo Spirit been clobbered by COVID in recent weeks, as have most of the teams in the competition. Almost every player and coach has fallen ill in recent times. No Tessa Levy this evening. She's in the protocol. No Leilani Mitchell. She's pregnant, therefore take no further part in the season. They play fast, hard, aggressive, small ball. Laurie, it's fun to watch when they find their groove.
Well, it is, and firstly, I'd like to say congratulations to Leilani and her partner, Michaela. That's fantastic news for them, but it does leave a big gap in the Bendigo Spirit's lineup. But we can see that Alex Wilson, which I think is definitely why they signed her early on, she's going to take that point guard position, and she's going to be crucial, as will, of course, Annalie Maley, who would have thought at the start of the season we'd be talking about her being first in 3-ball percentage, second in scoring, and first in rebounding.
She's MVP material at the moment, isn't she?
Well, she certainly is, and it's fantastic to see. Can't wait to see her play tonight.
The Townsville Fire, well, they've been a WNBL benchmark for most of the last decade. Grand finalists 6 of the last 9 seasons. Retained the bulk of the talented senior core, Laurie, that got them to the grand final last year. Added a couple of talented imports, Shug Sutton and Monique Billings, but unfortunately, Monique won't be out there tonight. She's nursing a knee injury.
Well, I'll be really interested to see how they fill that gap, because when I look across the stat line, you know, she's their main scorer, she's their top rebounder, she creates for other players, so it'll be interesting how they fill that gap. Nadine Payne has stepped into that starting lineup, and she certainly we know is very capable in that 4 spot. So I think that the Townsville will certainly miss her, but have the ability to make up for her.
Speaking to Shannon Seabom during the week, he told us that he's expecting a ferocious contest from Bendigo tonight. They play up-in-your-face basketball. They try to run the floor really quickly and aggressively in both directions, and his team's going to have to be on defensively.
Well, I think either team that play that up-and-in style and want to run is great. But when you're COVID affected,
who knows?
You know, come fourth quarter, we're not sure how many players will have the legs or whether they'll be running through mud. But that's where the coaches need to make subs. They need to keep the energy up as much as possible, and recognize if a player, you know, isn't firing, get somebody else in there who will.
And not just for tonight either. They've got one eye on the road ahead as well. Bendigo play 4 games in 8 days. Townsville play 4 in 10 days. If you're coaching these teams tonight, How are you managing the bench? How are you making sure that, look, not only do the gas could come out of the balloon really quickly tonight if if you're still suffering some symptoms. How are you going to manage that?
Well, I think you're focused totally on today's game. You're not even thinking about what's down the track or in Townsville's case, what's happening tomorrow. You want to try and get tonight's W. I think as the game goes on and come fourth quarter, if it's a large margin either way, that's where you start managing your starters and your, the minutes that everybody's playing. But right now, forget COVID. They're not even thinking about that. They're just excited to be back on the court and playing basketball.
Great to have them back. Bendigo and Townsville hit the floor for the first time in 2022. Round 8, Friday night WNBL action. It's the Spirit and the Fire from Bendigo Stadium. And away we go. Kuso gets the first tip. Here's Sutton. To Murray. Side to Nicholson. She's double teamed. Back out to Sutton. Murray. Kuso wants to take McKay on. Won't go. And there's Maley. The first of what we anticipate to be many rebounds this evening.
We certainly do.
Garrick to Wilson. And she was red hot in the warm-up. Laurie, I was watching her warming up, and from out well beyond the three-point arc, she hit 11 from 13, including 7 in a row. Some days you just turn up and you're feeling it, and that's one of those days for Alex Wilson, I suspect.
Well, I think we saw that last year when she played for Adelaide. She just had some games where she was on fire. So it'll be interesting to see if this starts off her campaign tonight. But as I said in the opener, she is really crucial, not only in scoring, but running the point for this team.
She's proven to be a shrewd acquisition. Inbound ball for Garrick. It's suddenly a scrap. Akuzo. They pile in from all sides. Jump ball. Possession arrow is with Bendigo. So Wilson with the inbound. Maley tries to make position, and bodies are hitting the floor early in this one. It's 5-zip for Bendigo. Sutton to Akuzo. Quick hands from Garrick with the steal. This could be a sensational start for Bendigo. Wilson lays it in, and it's 7-0.
Well, Wilson not only has size, but she has some great body strength, and she went up, absorbed that bump, and finished strongly.
What a start here for Bendigo. Murray to answer, and does. Important basket to settle things down for the Fire.
That was really good inside-outside movement. The defense collapsed, and they were able to kick it out to a wide-open Mia Murray at that corner three.
So 7-3 the score. Garrett combines with Wilson. Shot clock into single digits. Here's Maley. Look at the body work on the inside. The crashing and bashing right now. It's a physical contest, and Bendigo are up and about. It's 9-3.
McKay is super pumped. She's playing against her old teammates. I'm sure she wants to have a really good game. And she worked really hard to get that position on Akuzo and hold that position until she got the ball and finished.
Both these teams have set the tone early. It is super physical under the hoop at both ends of the court. McKay finishes.
I love to see that physicality, inside and really see them vying for position.
10-3. Apologies for technical difficulties early. Lack of score. Working on that as we speak. Murray. Akuzo again. Garrick almost with the steal. Sutton's going to have to pull the trigger with 2 seconds left. Kicks it to Murray. She nails another.
And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get it in her hands? She's just shot a three. I'd go to her again right now. Try and set up a play that gives her another three-point look.
Turnover comes. Now Payne from long range, and she drains one as well.
Or give it to Nadine Payne. Either way, it's another three in a row for Townsville.
What were we saying about cobwebs? Not seeing any at the moment.
Goodness.
What a start this has been. Like two caged tigers just let loose. They've been waiting to play for 4 weeks. Goulding, Garrick, McKay, lovely move, 2 more.
I think it's the opposite of commentator's curse. We said cobwebs, and there's nothing like cobwebs out there. How great to see.
Look at Garrett with the quick hands. Gets the steal, can't retain possession. It was a good heads-up play from Maddie Garrick. She couldn't quite hang on. lost her feet and possession. But what a start. Laurie, you can't ask for much more in the first 2:46.
Well, the words I use, that fierce competitiveness, it's certainly playing out straight away in these first 3 minutes. I think the players would be, Jason, so relieved to be back on the court and playing and doing what they love and you know, competing.
Sutton, she goes for 3 as well. Crashing in was Payne. Oh, they're going to give it. Ball hit foot before Sutton hit the floor. So it will be a Bendigo ball. Skinner into the game for Bendigo. Can't get it from long range. Sutton. The free throw line. Back out to Payne. Now Sutton again. She's the creator in this team. Murray. Nicholson swings it around to Akuso. Wants to work on Skinner. Gets in a position. Can't finish. McKay tidies up to Maley. What a season she's having in the MVP conversation in the opening month of the year. McKay, the cut from Garrick. Quick hands, catch, release. And Skinner can't get it to drop. Maley fights under the hoop as she always does. That won't go. McKay goes herself. Bodies flying in all directions right now. This is desperate stuff.
Feels like it's the fourth quarter and it's a grand ball game.
These two teams are throwing everything at each other right now. It's fantastic to see.
And they both had some good looks.
We're seeing two teams that have been caged up for the last month and are just letting it all out right now. Sutton to Nicholson.
Bendigo mixing up their defense and have thrown out a zone.
Steph Reed's on the floor. Off to Payne. Nice move. Good ball movement there from the Fire.
It was a good poise by Nadine Payne, just at that elbow, the nail where it's a zone breaker and finished off easily.
Steph Reed, the defensive terriers, on the floor for the Fire. Set to make Alex Wilson's night a long one. McKay, nice ball movement. McLean, but well read by Sutton. And Shug comes cruising down the floor. Pulls up at the arc. Mixes it up with Payne. Goes herself for the long two. And Maley again. Right place, right time, as she usually is. A couple of open options. Swings it right. Wilson, long range three. Not this time.
The great thing about Annalie Maley is that on an offensive rebound, she can punch it out and dribble up the floor herself. She doesn't have to pass it.
So it's 12-11 as we hit the halfway point of a action-packed opening quarter. Friday night WNBL. McLean. Skinner. Wilson tries to get it inside to McKay. It was nicely read by Nicholson. Did it enough to get it out.
Nicholson was working hard to get around and try and keep that front position and just got her hand in for a deflection. Great job. So you can see both coaches have been subbing early and going to their bench.
McLean. McKay. She knew that was long. She started to follow it in. A bit of frustration there from Lauren Nicholson, but it will be a Townsville ball. Steph Reed. 25-year-old, originally from Frankston. Great college career at Buffalo. Payne. Nicholson makes position in the corner. Scrapping underneath. Fighting hard there was McSpadden. But it will be a Bendigo ball. Dunlop. Off to Wilson. Already seeing plenty of personnel changes as they try to rotate short shifts. Keep everyone as fresh as possible. First game since December for both these teams, and they've both been battling COVID as well. Dunlop to Maley. Gets to position. Tough shot. Won't go. Here's Sutton again. Looks left and right. Where's the support? It's right. Payne. Called for the travel.
Now, both teams are certainly looking to push the ball at every opportunity, really explore that first 8 seconds of the shot clock. Do we have an open look in transition? Can we punch it in?
Wilson. bring it up the floor, and again, Reed right there in her face. Maley wants to get it to Garrick. Well done, Steph Reed. Stuck to the task. Had McSpadden under the hoop. Off the foot of Garrick. Foul.
I love watching Steph Reed in her first 4 games. She's been so tenacious and gritty in her defense, but really good in offense as well, and recognizing what teammate to get the ball to.
It's the side of her game she's worked a lot on. Well done, Lauren Nicholson. Nice touch. So Garrick brings it up the floor. It's a tight one. It's action-packed. 13-12, Fire lead. Maley for 3, and she makes it. Speaking of increased offense, Annalee Maley, one of the most improved players, if not the most improved player in the competition.
Well, as I said in the opener, to be talking about her shooting the 3 ball at 64% is unreal. We always know she's been a great offensive rebounder, but to be where she is offensively right now in this competition, it is fantastic.
Maley scraps for the board once again. Courtney Woods has it. Gives it back to Steph Reed. Just adds that gritty dimension, as Laurie mentioned. She can't lay that one in though. And look at Maley hit the floor hard. She's got McLean to the left. She's got Wilson set up, feet set rather on the right.
That's what I was talking about though, Annalee, getting that offense, that rebound, defensive rebound, and then pushing it up, making the defense collapse and kicking it out to Alex Wilson.
Reed wide to Woods. Both teams gone a little cold on the shooting side of things. Wilson for a long 2. All good. Timeout called, and Bendigo have a 4-point lead at 17-13, approaching quarter time at Bendigo Stadium. That first 5 minutes was absolutely frenetic.
Well, it was. I don't know about the players, but that certainly got us going here in the commentary.
So both teams just starting to settle into a little bit more of a rhythm. After that first 5 minutes, just saw bodies flying in all directions. Just the excitement of getting back out there. Both teams, and I'm sure both coaches now, stressing the need to regain control.
I feel like both teams, that there's a spread in scoring. Nobody's stood out as just, you know, going off, but certainly a spread about equally. So they're sharing the ball around. They're good ball and player movement from both teams.
Let's head down into the huddle.
All those shots are contested. I like the effort. I like the fighting. Right now we're just going to consistently contest shot, rebound, and then down here, right, just keep being organised. I like it. Right, let's get it here. Hey, play out of shakes again this time. Right, man or zone, play out of shakes. You roll hard. The whole middle of the paint is wide open. Right, here we go.
Shannon Seabaum, coach of the Townsville Fire in his 2nd season.
I like how he talked about he was really happy with the energy, and we know that they certainly brought that the first certainly 5 minutes of this quarter, and then the emphasis on contest every shot, make sure you've got a hand, make sure you make it difficult for Bendigo and nobody gets an open look.
Here's Steph Reed bringing it up the floor. Got McLean in her face. Draws Garrick, gives it to Murray. Here's Maley again. What a dominant force she is on the boards. Garrick, quick ball movement. McLean, back to Garrick. She is a shooter.
I think that's Garrick's first shot that she's taken. That, you know, she hasn't seen a lot of the ball, and they need to get her involved in that, because she is certainly capable of piling points on the board.
She's a confidence player. She was 8 of 31 from the field in her last 2 games, so to nail that first one will do her the world of good. Murray to Reed. Nicholson, Kuzo inside. Wants to work on McKay and does. 5-point game, 2015 Bendigo lead it.
I'm sure that'll be a good battle that we'll see all night between McKay and Akuzo.
Garrick again. Can she get on a run? Not this time. Kuzo off to Reed. Nice move. Gets inside Goulding, gets to good position, takes on Maley and adds another 2. Back off to Maley. Back to Maddie. Thought about McLean inside momentarily. McKay. McLean. Garrick's the 3 ball. Not this time. Reed wants to push it quickly. Nicholson, so good at penetrating to the hoop, and this time draws a foul and will head to the line.
So I really like that of Nicholson. You know, the ball came up the court quickly. She recognized that the defense, there was really no help defense. They weren't set, and so she just punched it in. And while she got an off-balance shot, she now finds herself at the line. Really smart basketball.
Lauren Nicholson a chance to reduce the margin to 1 if she can make both of these. With 40 seconds left in the opening quarter, misses the first. Unusual for Lauren, 85% free throw shooter. A really quiet last 3 games. Just 5, 7 and 4 points for her over the last 3 after she had 24 in the opening game against Adelaide. Sharon Seabom saying she's just in a little bit of a slump, missing some shots she normally makes, getting a little bit more opposition attention. She's going to have to work her way through it.
Yeah, that's interesting because I thought maybe she was injured because she normally we see her, she's explosive, she finds ways to score, and she has certainly been quiet. But good first game and then really quiet the next 3 games.
Down to 25 for the quarter on the game clock. Scrappy, but Bendigo will retain possession. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. 19.9 on the game clock. They lead by 2. It's going to Garrick or Wilson. Instead, they have to go to Skinner. She works to the free throw line. Can't quite get it to go. McKay got the offensive rebound, but it's going to be a Townsville ball.
Steph Reed just got her hands in there, got her hands around the ball. As a big player, don't bring the ball down for those little guards to get at.
So last play of the quarter for Townsville. They can tie it up or even hit the front with a 3. Sutton. Murray. Long 2. McKay hangs onto it. And the buzzer will signify the end of a very entertaining opening term. Quarter time at Bendigo Stadium. It's the Spirit 20, the Fire 18.
Who said we're not strong enough, not fast enough? Wrong. We're crossover queens, scoring buckets, taking names and hitting no-look threes. We fight for every ball. And do we dunk? Hell yeah. When we roll onto the court with nothing to lose and everything to prove, you're in for a show. She got style, she got balls, she got belief, she got game.
Quarter time, Bendigo Stadium. Spirit 20, Fire 18 after a crazy first 5 minutes, Laurie. We weren't sure what we were going to get. We just got 2 giant bundles of energy just ripping into each other for the first 5 minutes, and eventually we settled down and played a bit of basketball.
But while it was a bundle of energy, it was good basketball.
It was fun.
Too. It was great. They were pushing the ball up the floor. Both teams really running at each other hard. Some good defense out there. And really, you know, they both then settled into it. Now I feel like they felt each other, they know what to expect, and now we'll see probably a little bit more, maybe some specific plays being run to get certain players open.
Apologies for the lack of individual player stats. There's a problem with the FIBA feed at the moment. We're working to get that sorted out for you as soon as possible. It's 20-18 in favour of Bendigo. They're 1-3 on the season. The Fire 2-2. Townsville looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. First game for both these teams in 2022, so it's been an extended absence. You see the excitement and enthusiasm back out on the court from both these teams.
One thing I'd like to see from Bendigo is when the matchup of Steph Reed and Alex Wilson with Steph Reed on, post her up. Alex Wilson has a huge height advantage, so even if you pass it and then go post up, but that's not what Bendigo would be looking for.
Sutton gets the first look at the second quarter. Can't capitalise. Garrick, the ever-pesky Reed. Happy to hold things up. Draws Wilson towards her. Long two from Alex. Off the front of the iron. Kuzo to Sutton. Some speed on this attack from Townsville. Reed the look-away pass. Murray through her hands. Kayla Cox is into the game. Sutton. Reed drives on Garrick and lays in the two.
It's so cagey from Steph Reed. Just that little bit of hesitation, little bit of change of speed and direction, and a really nice finish.
Steph Reed locks it up at 20 apiece. Clean hands off to Garrick, who just slips on a little bit of moisture on the floor. Hope she's okay. Just maybe rolled that ankle slightly. Murray, Reed, Sutton. Michaela Cox is wide open. Skinner tidies it up.
Good block out by Skinner.
Now Murray's down as well, so a little bit of moisture on the court by the looks. And the ref wisely just calls a halt to proceedings for a moment to check things out. Here's a look at Maddie. Plants that right foot and rolls that ankle. Nasty.
And Maddie has had serious ankle injuries in the past, so let's just hope it's a minor roll and she can put some more tape on it and get back out there.
Murray, Sutton. Kuzo kicks it out. Cox from the same spot, got a sider. Finds the radar this time.
Good decision by Akuzo when she got the ball inside, that she didn't have an open look, but there she saw her teammate wide open at the three-point line.
Clean off to Skinner and now McKay. Wilson the wraparound. She goes for a three ball, almost banked it in. Steph Reed scurries away. Such a ball of energy. Sutton. Floats to the free throw line, but can't get it to fall. Skinner brings it up the court for Bendigo. Off to Wilson. Skinner. McKay for three. Murray.
I feel like Bendigo right now are just settling for that three-point shot. They're running their flex offense and they're just not giving it a chance to really develop. They're just a bit slow right now. They're not cutting as hard as they should.
Kuzo lays it in, wanted the and one. Timeout called, and it's the Fire by 3 points. They've added 7 points to 2 to start this second term. So good start to the second from Townsville, just starting to get themselves on top. Tracy York in the other huddle at the moment. Laurie, what are you saying? At the moment, Townsville have just managed to grab a little bit of momentum.
Well, I think I'd be saying to her, as I just mentioned, don't just settle for the three. Let's really test their defense out there. So with that flex action, it's all about screening. So you need to set a good screen. You need to use that screen and cut hard and read the defense, what they're giving you. And you know, if it's near the end of the shot clock, put some pressure on the rim. See if you can draw a foul and get yourself to the foul line. We see Annalie Maley in there. We know that she brings some energy and great driving ability to the basket. So we'll see if that changes at all.
They're a little bit undersized as a squad, and Carly Bogue, you see there sitting on the bench. She's just on her way out of COVID protocol, so she's underdone. Tracy York going to be careful with the amount of minutes she involves Carly in as she works her way back.
Well, we certainly hope we'll see Maddie Garrett back on court because she's key to this Bendigo Spirit lineup.
So a lot falls on the shoulders, the experienced shoulders of Alex Wilson. Inside to McKay was good. Much better start.
Really great look inside. Really good positioning of her body, McKay. They had that play set up really well, knowing that that's where the ball was going to go.
Reed wants to take on McLean. Maley comes on across in support. Sutton. Okuzo's got the mismatch. Reed goes for the long three and makes it. Four-point lead for the Fire. Wilson to McLean.
You could see Shannon Seabourn tapping the top of his head, indicating he wanted them to go into their zone.
Okay, can't get it to go the first time. Goes again. Maley over the top of Okuzo and should be called for the foul. There's another look at Steph Reed. Sunk a buzzer beater to win the Mid-American Conference Championship in her college days and send their school, Buffalo, to the big dance for the first time. Launched a long three there. Here's Sutton. Nice move. All class for another two. And suddenly the margin's out to 6. Bendigo need to just halt this momentum here, get something going themselves. McKay working hard under the hoop.
I think she was probably called for 3 in the key. She was planted there a long time. She did the right thing by running to that position, point of the rim, but she just needed to make her move. It was really good defense.
She's outnumbered and outsized under the hoop at the moment. They're double teaming her. They've got some size advantage, Townsville, and they're prepared to use it. Sutton. Cox gets into position for the feed to Okuzo and one. Townsville starting to find their rhythm in this second term. Veteran move from Michaela Cox.
Well, it was, and she just recognized, she just had that slightest little shot fake on that closeout. Her defender came out of the stance. She just went right around her really easily and made a great pass to Okuzo.
Tina Okuzo. Only a 59% free throw shooter. So it's an area of a game that she's been working on. 6th Woman of the Year last season. Makes the extra.
Bit of a danger time for Bendigo right now. They really need to come up with a good, strong basket.
Bogue, you can see her thought. She had Skinner unattended under the basket, just couldn't get it to her. Good ball movement here from Townsville again. Just looking a little sharper right now on offense. Reed, happy to pull back. Set a play. Wanted to go herself. Well done, Carly Bogue. Got a hand in to disrupt the play. So 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Sutton. Lovely little give. Okuzo can't finish. And Maley has it for Bendigo. Can Anna Lee get something going here for her team? Good pressure again. Guess who? Steph Reed. Giving Anna Lee a bit of a taste of her own medicine. Anna Lee Maley, one of the most physical, scrappy, gritty, tenacious players in the competition, while Steph Reed's matching her in that department.
One thing for Bendigo is, and this has happened a couple of times, is when they have dribble penetration, there should be movement on the perimeter, so that if they get stopped, as we saw Anna Lee there, there's somebody to pass it to. They know where to be looking, whether it's a corner at the top, where you've come from, but there needs to be more perimeter movement on dribble penetration.
Starting play, you might sit the rest of this fucking game down. So play some defense. Yep. All right. Offensively, we got to make good and quick decisions. All right. You saw on the back cut, they're going to get hands in. Play if you go to miss, make sure it's nice and hard, and we go to take done on the roll down. 3-on-3, 1-2-3.
Apologies for the colourful language there. Tracy York getting all fired up. If you're not going to play D, you'll find yourself sitting on the bench for the rest of the day, Laurie.
Well, that was a pretty clear message to the team there. So we'll see if they can come out and ramp it up defensively. But it's true, you know, when we were talking about that last, just a shot fake, a drive, it's too easy. You've got to, every shot has got to be, the goal is to make it contested, make it difficult.
That's Bendigo's brand. When they're at their best, they're right up in your face, they're scrapping for every ball, they're throwing themselves at every loose ball, contesting every shot. Here's Sutton, works on Bogue. Here's Maley, bit of physical presence once again, off to Wilson. Can she get hot? Inside to Bogue. Draws the foul on Payne. Bit of proactive offense there from Bendigo. Maybe getting the size of Carly Bogue into the game to give McKay a little bit of help under the boards will help the Spirit. She can't make the first. 74% free throw shooter across her WNBL career, but misses both as Maley and McSpadden hit the floor. It's a Bendigo ball. Floor wipers have been working overtime tonight. There's been a lot of bodies on the hardwood. Maley, McLean, Sutton all over her. Wilson, Skinner, gets into her move, and it was nice. Lovely touch, Demi Skinner. Nicholson's back into the action. Sutton, McSpadden, Cox. Back to Sutton. Screen comes from Payne. Bogue did enough to flip it to Skinner. And now Maley. So it's a 7-point game, 4 minutes remaining in the opening half. Maley sets herself for three. They need it, and she delivers it.
They certainly did need that basket. Now we'll see if they can come up with some consecutive stops.
So back to a 4-point game, far more manageable. They've stopped the momentum of the Fire, at least temporarily. Cox looks to get it going again. McSpadden comes over the top of Maley, and it's a Bendigo ball. So a much better minute and a half since that timeout, Laurie, at both ends of the floor.
Well, they have. They've thrown out a zone, Bendigo, and, you know, Townsville have taken 2 long shots and both have missed, so you'd have to say they're successful so far.
Maley to Skinner. Now Wilson. Maley gets to the free throw line, and Bogue finds her. Long 2 for Anna Lee. And she's starting to warm up. It's a 2-point game.
She is, and she wanted that ball. She said, give that to me. I think I can score on McSpadden.
Nicholson, Payne, Sutton, Nicholson open. Michaela Cox in the corner. Deadly from there. Good response from the New Zealand veteran. Wilson off to McLean. Bogue takes position under the hoop, then loses her footing. Payne comes up with the ball. Sutton. Cox has been busy. Awkward pass finds Payne. Sutton for 3. Off the backboard. Cleaned up by Bogue. So Maley looks to be the key here. She's the spark. She has been all season. That one short, just flicks the front of the basket. McLean in good position to get the offensive board and draws the foul. Good 2.5 minutes here for Bendigo. They've stabilised the situation, got themselves back in the contest.
Yes, and it looked like Townsville could have run away with that for those few minutes there, and so it's good to see that Bendigo has regrouped.
It's going to be Cassidy McLean to the line. 22-year-old, originally from Newcastle, spent 3 seasons at the Sydney Flames. In her 3rd year now at Bendigo. Missed 18 months of basketball when she did her ACL back in March of 2019, but promising young backup guard for the Spirit. Steph Reed was in everything early. She pulls out of this one, says, look, we're just going to set this up. Akuzo sets the screen. 3 ball there from Courtney Woods. And that won't go either. As we approach the 2-minute mark in the second term. Bendigo on a bit of a run here. McKay's in some heavy traffic. Off to McLean. She tries to drive. No getting through there. 3 bodies between her and the basket. Reed wants to push the pace. Has got Payne. Uses her. Fouled from behind by McLean. And she'll go to the line. So once again, Steph Reed just identifying a chance to accelerate.
The great thing about Steph Reed, and that's what a great guard does, is as they're pushing the ball up the floor at pace, at tempo, she's seeing what's coming around her. So you know, you've got the ability to make decisions quickly, make the decisions at pace.
Payne moved alongside, caught the eye. And now goes to the line for 2. One of the veterans of this team playing game number 241 this evening, Nadine Payne, in her 12th season of WNBL. Wilson, Goulding. Maddie Garrick hasn't returned since rolling that ankle, not as yet. McKay inside to Skinner was good. Some points in the paint for Bendigo. How many seconds left in the opening half? It's the Fire by 4. Reed receives from Nicholson. Payne inside, Akuzo. Adds another 2. Exciting young prospect she is, Zatina Akuzo. Glimpses of brilliance. Shannon Seabohm says consistency is her goal now. Just extend those glimpses into quarters and then into games. As Skinner goes for 3. Can't quite get the friendly bounce, and Goulding clatters into Nicholson and gives away the foul. Such a promising prospect, Tina Akuzo. Only 23 years of age. Played volleyball till she was 15, so she hasn't been playing basketball for 8 years. So still very early in her development curve. A lot of upside to be excited about for Townsville and indeed for the Opals. She's in their training squad. Long 2 from Nicholson, who's also in that squad.
That was a really good use of a re-screen. So she came off the on-ball, really didn't, you know, there was nothing. Akuzo re-screened for her, and she was able to get a nice, easy look at the basket. So
good steadying couple of minutes here from Townsville. They've got that lead back out to 8. Maylee's wide open. Off the back of the rim. She gets her own ball. Won't go, though. And the last play of the first half could be Townsville's. So a good last 2 minutes from them. That'll please Shannon Seabohm. Reed happy to take the points on offer. Give Bendigo one last look. Wilson sets herself. Down to 3. Goes herself and lays it in. What a magnificent play to finish the first half from Alex Wilson. Drives through traffic and the touch to finish. And at half-time, it is the Fire 44, the Spirit 36. It's the visitors by 8 points. So Laurie, it was frenetic the first 5 minutes of this one. Both teams just throwing themselves at everything, and then we started to settle into a bit of a rhythm. And that was the Spirit by 2 points at the first change.
We're thinking of grabbing a bite tonight. Any new places close by?
Well, actually... And there's also...
Oh,
I think 20 is enough.
yeah, that should do us.
Half-time at Bendigo Stadium, and it is the Townsville Fire leading by 8 points, 44-36. It was the Spirit by 2 at quarter time. Townsville taking control a little bit in that second term. They added 26 points to 16 to lead by 8 points at the half. Jason Bennett alongside coaching legend Laurie Chiswick. Laurie, what did you make of the first half?
Well, as we've talked about over and over, both teams just came out of the blocks ready to go, and like you say, they were just pent up, leashed, and it was great to see. Then everybody settled back into sort of a bit more of a rhythm. I thought Townsville in that second quarter really found their straps earlier on and got through a lot of hands and some really good looks at the basket. Tracy called that timeout, and we heard a little bit of colorful language, and then I thought then that Bendigo really did knuckle down defensively and went into that zone that Townsville got some looks, but they just weren't falling, and so they were able to, through Annalie Maley getting a couple of great threes, bring that margin.
Steph Reid didn't start the game, but she was into the game really quickly. Notice that Shannon Seabold made that substitution really quickly, and it's not often a defensive player changes the nature of a game, particularly early on, but she did. Like, she came on and it was this sort of scrap and this sort of tenacious, gritty, scrappy kind of play early that just gave Townsville the early advantage.
Well, she does. She's got really active hands defensively. She can come up with deflections. She bothers players, keeps players to, contested, making them feel like they're under pressure. We see here with Megan McKay bringing the ball down, and she was just all over it. But offensively, too, she's gotten some great drives to the basket and some really good finishes. That little scoop shot for her is really effective, and then we can see her feet set, nailing this three-point shot. So she's been great at both ends of the floor, but her tenacity, we can talk about it all night, and her vision. She makes a great pass here, great assist to Nadine Payne. So she's really doing a lot at both ends of the court.
Shannon Seabold, when we were talking to him about Steph Reid during the week, said that she is the most improved player on our team, and he feels like she should start to be talked about in Opal's conversations. He believes she's the best defensive point guard in Australia, and she would bring something different to this squad, completely different to the other point guards we already have in there.
Well, I know when I talked to him, it was the start of the season, one of their first games, he did mention to me that she stayed in Queensland in the off season, and he was able to work with her, and she played up there in the QBL and just worked on her game, and it's paid dividends, and it's good to see her get lots of minutes and what she's able to produce for Townsville.
Alex Wilson, 174-game veteran, was signed after the lead-up to Game 2 for the Spirit. If you haven't caught the news, Leilani Mitchell, congratulations, Leilani. She's pregnant. Means her season's over, which means Alex Wilson's role in this team suddenly becomes even more important, and particularly so with Maddie Garrett going down with a rolled ankle. Suddenly, a lot on Alex's shoulders.
Well, I thought at the start of the game in that first quarter that she had a big impact on the game. I thought she was a little quiet in the second quarter. Didn't sort of seem to have the ball in her hands as much, and maybe her decision-making on a few shots. But we know that she can shoot the three ball. We know that she can drive hard to the basket like we just saw there. And she's really important to this team, especially with Levy not there, Maddie Garrett going down, and with the absence of Leilani Mitchell.
Yes, Tessa Levy, if you haven't caught the news, is in isolation at the moment due to the health and safety protocol. So no Levy either for Bendigo tonight. Well, the stop-starts nature of this season will continue to challenge teams, no doubt. These two teams have been inactive for weeks now due to COVID postponements. Suddenly they launch straight into a concentrated period of action. Bendigo play 4 games in 8 days. Townsville play 4 in 10 days. And Laurie, there's obviously a number of ways that these coaching panels need to adjust player workloads, but also it impacts the rotations you can get out there on court and therefore the plays you can run as well.
Well, fortunately, Tracy and Shannon both coached in the bubble last year, so they would be used to knowing how to play back-to-back games or having a day off and you have to travel. So they would be used to it. They'd have some idea of what to expect. The COVID, I don't think will be, hopefully that's not an issue down the track, but you have to be mindful of you don't get a lot of training in there. It's, you know, preparation is your scout notes, your walkthrough, your shoot-arounds, and just keeping everybody up and energetic and trying to get some W's through that time.
It's just about recovery more so than working on anything in particular. And some big Opals news this week. Let's talk about the Opals. We mentioned them a little earlier when we were talking about Steph Reid. The release of the 16-player training squad that will head into camp in Sydney at the end of the month. That squad will be trimmed to the final 12 who will head to the World Cup qualifying tournament in mid-February in Serbia. The Aussies will play Korea, Brazil and Serbia. The World Cup itself, of course, Sydney this September, Laurie. So it's an even bigger deal from the Opals. And 3 players from the match we're watching currently in the squad: Lauren Nicholson, Annalie Maley, Zatina Akuzo. It feels like we've finally arrived at a bit of a generational changing of the guard, doesn't it, with the Opals?
Oh, well, there's certainly, you know, those players you just mentioned from this game, but there's a whole list of players that when I looked at that list that came out, 6 were at the Olympics, and so that leaves 6 wide open spots. Some played in the Asia Cup, but from the Olympics there's only 6 players there. So it is a changing of the guard, some great opportunities for players. And one thing I really like is that Sandy Brondella and her coaching staff, they've really looked at the WNBL, and so from that big group that they had, they included Annalie Maley and Abby Bishop because they've both had really good seasons to date. So I think it's really great that they've included them.
And they need some versatility in this team as well, and Annalie Maley certainly brings that.
Well, she does, and I think what a great opportunity for her. Whether she makes it or not, the fact she's invited to that Opal camp, the recognition, and it'll just depend what she does in that camp to see whether she will actually make the team. But she does. We haven't seen an offensive rebounder like Annalie Maley, and so she does bring that point of difference.
And for other teams that haven't really had much of a chance to scout her, they won't know exactly what to make of Annalie. She's a very difficult matchup.
Well, she is, and she can, you know, as we say now, she's a scoring threat too. Before, she just used to be known for her rebounding. And you can't get selected on just one thing. You've got to have more strings to your bow. But the fact that she's now scoring consistently, is second in the league right now, that says a lot for how she's really worked on her game, and how the change of environment to Bendigo and working under coach Tracy York has been really good for her. And that can happen with players where just a change and maybe what they're running or what their philosophies are really suit Annalie.
If you're an Australian selector at the moment and you're looking at this team, we're talking about the generational change, the chance to introduce some fresh blood, and looking ahead not only for right now in the World Cup in September, but for the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Are you starting to lean towards maybe a couple of players like Annalie that you might say, well, look, she might not be the 100% complete product right now, but you know what? Let's get her the experience. Let's get her in this team and she'll grow and develop and give her that experience.
Well, that's really true, but it's always a puzzle to go, now we're preparing for the World Cup. So you could go this, you know, we've qualified regardless, whatever we do in Serbia, we've still qualified. So you say we could take, you know, some younger players, some less experienced players, but you also want to try and get your core group together and playing together as much as possible. That group that is going to, you know, go a long way and hopefully win a medal at the World Cup. So it's a fine line. And the other thing that's interesting is that as a coach, and we've experienced, you know, I've experienced this as being part of the Opals, players that are great in our WNBL, our domestic competition, it doesn't always translate to being great internationally. There are some differences out there. So, you know, it's a chance to test the waters for some of these new players in an environment where we're going to make it anyway. So it gives the selectors, the coaches, a real opportunity at this next camp to see how they can fit that puzzle together.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time, isn't it? The squad itself has been kind of set in stone largely for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Now it's all up for grabs. There's going to be some magnets moved around. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens over the next 8 or 9 months between now and the World Cup. We're going to take a quick break. Half-time here on our Friday night WNBL action. It's the Fire over the Spirit by 8 points. Half-time, Bendigo Stadium. It is the Fire by 8 points. They scored 26-16 in the second term to lead 44-36 at this major change. Jason Bennett alongside Laurie Chiswick as we get set for second half action. And Laurie, before we move on from the Opals, there's a story going around, made public today, that the GOAT, Lauren Jackson, might be considering coming out of retirement. She retired, of course, in 2016, had an ACL due to chronic pain. The Daily Telegraph's Matt Logue mentioned on SEN Radio in Sydney today, Loz is keen to return. She's in training. Matt said he reached out to the Opals, and they say she just needs to get fit. Are you up for a Loz for Liz swap?
Oh my goodness. I heard that news a little while ago and I was like, oh no, it can't be true. And then it's gained momentum, that rumor, and you know what? It would certainly make it interesting for the selectors. And, you know, I mean, she would have to get fit, have to play some games somewhere, but wow, wouldn't that be amazing?
Watch this space as we start the second half, and Bendigo start it with an Alex Wilson 2. Margin back to 6. Nicholson receives from Sutton, now gives it back. Nicholson again. Sweet move.
That is trademark Lauren Nicholson. She uses that little screen and she recognizes the defense isn't there. I don't want to drive it all the way in. Has just a nice little pull-up jump shot.
Okay, bodies up Akuzo. Off the front of the iron. And Satina tidies it up. Off to Sutton. Just the distributor in this team predominantly at the moment. Shug Sutton. Not too concerned with doing the scoring herself. She's very selfless, happy to share it around as Nicholson does with Akuzo.
Well, you have to remember they're without their leading scorer, Monique Billings, who averages 16 points a game. So, you know, that's a big gap to fill. And I think they've done it by committee today so far. Everybody's been involved.
Kay again tries to muscle Akuzo. Bendigo retain possession. McLean. Wilson screams at her, says, Cassidy, your ball. Wilson gets it back. Kay sets the screen, tries to create some space for the 3. Payne holds it in. Shoots up, off to Nicholson again. One-on-one with Maylee. Generates some space and generates another 3.
It's good to see Lauren Nicholson nailing some shots out there. That'll be good for her confidence and what she wants to do for the rest of the game and all the games coming up.
Maylee inside again to McKay. They're trying to establish this inside game early. That one's waved away. Offensive foul on Megan. Tracy York calls a timeout as we have a look at Nicholson. There's the contact between McKay and Nadine Payne. Megan not happy with the call. She's been playing a lone hand under the hoop at both ends for most of the evening. Spirit undersized relative to the Fire. It's been a good start to this second half for Townsville. They've had 5 points to 2 and their margin now out to 11 points. Well, Aussie Hoops is basketball's national junior participation program and introduces kids aged 5 to 10 to basketball. They'll learn and improve their fundamentals, their movement skills, and really important life lessons such as teamwork and cooperation. And most importantly, they'll have some fun and make some friends. The success of the Aussie Hoops program easily measured on the smiles of more than 100,000 kids that participate in the program each year. Gives them a great basis to progress into competitive basketball down the track, and to find out where your kids can start a lifelong enjoyment of the great game, visit the Aussie Hoops locator, aussiehoops.basketball/find a program. Registrations now open for term 1 as we recommence from Nicholson to Sutton. Almost for Maylee. Payne manages to hang on, puts it at the feet of Murray. Goulding harassing her. Payne. Foul spotted by the ref.
That's the sort of defense, though, that Bendigo need to play up and in, and so that they're having to think about, you know, the defender rather than just being able to make passes and think about their offense and play in rhythm. So while they may get a few fouls out of that, they still need to play that sort of basketball.
Right in front of their own bench. They were getting some energy from the bench as well. Lots of voice. Murray, heavy on the shot. McLean to Wilson. Thinks about accelerating, gives it off to Goodchild. Wilson in space from the corner. McKay commits the body again, but Murray rips it away. Nicholson weaves her way through traffic. Tough shot, won't quite go. Maley off to McKay. Now to Wilson. Swings it wide, McLean. Maley inside ball. Good work from McSpadden, did just enough to get it away from McKay. Here's another look. So 11-point margin, 7 minutes left in the third as McLean guards Sutton. Murray suddenly opens up for her. She's got Nicholson in the corner, couldn't take it cleanly off the hands of Maley. Forever scrapping Annalee Maley. Sutton to Nicholson. She likes that spot. Not this time. McKay off to Wilson. Penetrates towards the hoop. Stopped by Payne. McKay finds herself at the arc this time. Hard screen. Umpire said moving screen.
I feel like Bendigo just aren't, they're being a little undisciplined right now. They're not really getting through hands. I mean, I feel like Annalee Maley hasn't touched the ball that much at all, and they need her involved. So, you know, get through their flex and make Townsville play some defense.
Seems like the ball is in the hand of the Fire 75% of the time right now. Nicholson. Fouled in the act, and the 2 will count. That stings. Suddenly, Townsville are out to a double-digit lead. The margin's at 13. And you're right, Laurie. Feels like Townsville have had possession of this ball for probably 80% of this quarter.
And that's what scoreboard pressure does to you, and it makes you feel like, oh, we've got to, you know, we're down now by 10, we're now down by 12, we need to get a shot up quickly, when in fact the reverse is true. And you need to then go, okay, I need to slow it, we need to get good looks every time, make them play some defense, give them the opportunity to foul us. Of course, unless you can get a great transition basket and a wide open look, but otherwise, you've got to have a bit more discipline out there.
Alex Wilson, really the only veteran on the floor at the moment. The other 4 all pretty young and inexperienced, so need a little bit of leadership out there. Sutton goes herself. Well done, Maley. She wants to push the pace. Pulls up at the arc, then thinks about the spin move, but went down a cul-de-sac. Dead end for Annalee Maley, and she's called for the travel. Trying to make something happen for her team.
Bendigo and Townsville, for that matter, they both look much better when they're trying to create for each other and get the ball through hands a little bit. I mean, we know a team like Perth have some just flat-out prolific scorers. So I don't really feel that these two teams necessarily have that. They have great scorers that when you work within their team, they can get some good shots, but that's what they need to be successful.
McLean off to Maley. This is Skinner, long 3 from Demi is great.
Well, that was exactly their flex cut action. There was a little down screen for Demi. She recognized where her defense was, had her feet set, and got a really nice look.
Margin back to 11 as we approach the midway point of quarter 3. Nicholson trying to work on Skinner. Steps back, shots heavy. Sutton cleans it up. Gets a screen, goes itself. Classy finish there from Shug.
As we don't have stats, it's hard to know, but I just feel like she's just quietly going about her business, you know, acquiring some points, running the team, running the show.
Here's Skinner again, similar spot, not quite this time, but Maley's in good position to clean it up. And Bendigo now starting to find a bit of momentum. Timeout called, margin back to 11. Classy finish this from Shug Sutton.
Well, it was the way she split the defense, and then you can see a nice shot by Demi. She just made one from that previous shot, and a good cleanup by Annalee Maley.
And she's a creative type point guard that pass first, set up her teammates tight. Got a lot of offensive upside to score herself. Exciting upside, according to Shannon Seabohm. Great teammate, and her goal is to get back to the WNBA and prove that she belongs there. She was drafted by the Washington Mystics at pick 36 in 2020. She was then waived in May of that year, re-signed in August. They needed her back, and then they waived her again in May of last year. So she's on the outside looking in at the moment. And a good solid summer here to work on her game and get some good world-class competitions, exactly what she needs.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing I would like to see with her, as long as she's got teammates that are really sprinting the lanes, is just for her to push it a little bit harder and really try and put on the jets and see what sort of tempo she can force and play at. You know, you can always pull it back out if nothing's there, but sometimes I think she plays just a little bit safe in that regard.
The thing to remember with some of these, a lot of these American players we get across here, they're playing in teams full of superstars over in the States, Laurie, aren't they? So their role over there isn't to be the primary scorer, so they get into the habit of being feeders.
Yes.
Reed. Cox is wide open. Bogue off to Maley. Bendigo continue this momentum and work their way back once again. Nice move, Wilson to Bogue, and it'll go for the extra. Nice work from Carly Bogue on limited minutes. She comes out of the protocols. Landed a little awkwardly there. The margin's at 8. So now it's up to the Fire to just halt this, quash the resistance, as it were. Reed, Payne. Thought about the shot. It was a really clever inside ball to Akuzo.
Oh, wasn't it? That was really unselfish. I thought she was going to let it go, and then she just out of the corner of her eye saw Akuzo in a great position under the basket. Really unselfish.
Maley, Skinner will go again. Boyd with the confidence of making one earlier. Surprise, surprise, Annalise Maley's on the floor again. Annalise seems to spend about 40% of her time on game day on the floor. She's that sort of scrappy, desperate player. She's involved in everything, with and without the ball. I
think players, the opposition, are so aware of her rebounding prowess that they try everything to block her out, and sometimes it's just a little bit too ambitious.
Wilson hooks around, needs some support. McLean inside ball. Skinner wants to work on Payne. Maley again, there's the rebound and the finish. Just an unbelievable knack of getting those boards. I keep saying it, she's possibly the best 185-centimetre rebounder we've ever seen. She's incredible. Akuzo has the size advantage on Skinner.
And that's one thing on any team, whether it's in the WNBL or at international level. If you can have a 2-player or a 3-player that goes after the boards hard, it's just gives you that another avenue to score. And we see there she's hitting mid-range, she's hitting long shots, she's doing what we expect her to do now.
She's an incredibly difficult matchup for that reason, isn't she? If you play a small on her like a Steph Reed, she's so good overhead. But if you play a tall on her, she's so nimble and quick and agile.
Yeah.
Just a pause in proceedings as they tidy up the floor where Carly Bogue hit the deck. It's back to a 6-point game with 3 minutes left in the third. Credit here to Bendigo. This game looked to be slipping away at one point. Margin was heading out into double digits, and they've managed to grind their way back into this.
Absolutely. I've been really impressed with, they've made some subs. They've got some different players on the court, and they're just chipping away.
Of course, the one thing we don't know, one of the X factors at the moment, both these teams have had basically 3 to 4 weeks off, is the fatigue factor. We don't know what fatigue's going to do for both these teams down the stretch here. Anything's possible in the next 13 minutes of basketball.
They could be running in mud in the fourth quarter, or they could just be,
One team could power away, who knows?
Exactly.
Akuzo with the step and the move and the finish.
It's a nice finish by Akuzo.
McLean. Wilson. Maley. Reed on the deck. Wilson steps around her, drives to the hoop. Oh, the refs see this. Steph Reed with the frustration.
I'm glad
Foul on
Alex
Steph.
Wilson put it to the floor because, you know, she hasn't been that successful. We don't have the stats like we've said, but we don't know what her three-point shooting percentage is. But, you know, she hasn't been nailing them, so it's good to mix that up and get herself to the foul line.
She's certainly got the strength and the power to work through traffic, as we saw there on Steph Reed. She's an elite three-point shooter, Alex, but as you said, also has the ability to penetrate. The Rookie of the Year back in 2014, so she's been around the traps at Adelaide and the Fire, Sydney, back to Adelaide, and now in Bendigo. Reed off to Payne, and now Cox. Harassed by Maley. Reed holds it up. Kuzo. Through hands. Payne, Cox. Kuzo now wants to work on McLean, has the size advantage and uses it well. Nice touch from Zatina.
Very clean finish.
Marchant sits at 8. Really important 2 minutes left in this third term. Can the Fire open that gap once again? Can Bendigo continue to close it as McKay throws it away?
Right idea, just did not execute well.
We saw Townsville finish the second term really strongly. Their last couple of minutes just helped them open up an 8-point lead at half-time. Shannon Seabombi hoping his team can replicate that and finish this quarter strong as well. Trying to get back into double figures, and of course Tracy York the opposite. She'll be hoping to close in here and really tighten it up as they head to the fourth. Some heavy work off the ball, and it's an offensive foul. So it's on Mia Murray, the veteran, against Alex Wilson. So the foul on Murray. Bendigo ball. Off to McKay. Looks at McSpadden, says, I'll give this a try.
Oh, travel called.
Basket waved away. Here's another look. What'd you make of it, Laurie? Not much, judging from your facial expression. Reed. Say no more. Murray. Cox. Murray. Reed again. Takes on Skinner. Tries to feed it through. Maley read it nicely. Now wants to push the floor. He's got Murray in front of her. Pulls up with the jumper. Won't go. McKay over the top. Crashes the boards. And puts it in for 2.
Great follow-up by McKay just to run the floor hard behind Anna Lee and scoop up that offensive rebound.
Back to a 6-point game. Important 50 seconds. Murray. Over the top came McSpadden. Bendigo ball. Good moments here for the Spirit. McKay off to Skinner. McLean's wide open. She looks at 3. No good. McSpadden hands it off. Reed. Got a bit of traffic in front, so she'll kick it back to Woods. That won't go. Once again, Annalee Maley into double-figure rebounds once more. Cassidy McLean slows it down. 7-second differential between shot clock and game clock. McLean tried to feed it through. Good active hands from the Fire. Reed, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. And Michaela Cox is fouled. So an important turnaround right at the death here in this third term. So Maley, strain on her face, won't quite go, but McKay came in and crashed it for the 2. It's going to be a Townsville trip to the line for Michaela Cox. 80% career free throw shooter, playing game number 228 tonight. And those two never in doubt. So 5 seconds left. Wilson goes down awkwardly. Wait for the call here. Looks Looks like it's going to be a Townsville ball. It is.
Must have been another travel call.
As Alex looked to just lose her feet. So 4 seconds. Can the Fire come up with here to get it back out to double digits? A 1-2 play. Back inside to McSpadden, won't quite drop. And after a frantic third term where Townsville surged, Bendigo came back at them. In the end, the quarter was a break even. It was 8 points at half-time. It's 8 points at the final change. It's the Fire 62, Bendigo 54. Friday night NBL, WNBL from Bendigo Stadium. Three-quarter time at Bendigo Stadium. It's the Fire 62, the Spirit 54. And we've been talking about it all night, but the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup returning to Australian shores for the first time in 27 years. 12 teams, so 144 of the world's best players, 38 games across 10 days. It's going to be a festival of basketball. So sign up now for first access to tickets at womensworldcup.basketball. It's going to be fantastic this September. Well, it was an entertaining third term. The Fire looked to be running away with the game, or threatening to at least. Bendigo managed to grind their way back into it before the Fire settled late. And at three-quarter time, it's an 8-point margin as it was at the half. Jason Bennett, Laurie Chiswick.
We have to be impressed with Bendigo because remember, Maddie Garrick went down in that second quarter, and so they've been without her for this whole second half so far, and so to stay within that 8 points, they've done a good job, but they really need to come up with some big stops early on. No
Tessa Levy, no Leilani Mitchell either, so their top three guards, none of those on the floor. This lady is Annalie Maley. Starring again tonight. Wilson, Maley, you'd figure those two are going to need to have big final terms, and McKay. They're the big three really for Bendigo. Skinner has done some nice things, and there's another two of them. Margin back to 6. Demi Skinner's come into the game, played her role effectively. Sutton off to Murray. Dynamic Cox, always on the move. Sutton back to Michaela, puts a step on Skinner, takes it to the rack.
See, that's just too easy. They played, you know, 16, 17, 18 good seconds of defense, and then she just was easily able to go around her on the dribble penetration.
Wilson short on the 3. Sutton brings it back up the floor, just sort of floats across the floor, draws the foul, will go to the line and shoot 2. Very Lindsay Allen-like in some of her moves is Shug Sutton. Really light on her feet, sort of floats across the floor, defies gravity at times, just kind of hangs in the air like she did there.
Yes, Megan McKay really didn't have a choice there. She was either going to go around her foot speed. There's quite a big difference in their foot speed.
A 23-year-old from St. Louis. Margin back out to 9. So can Maley and Wilson and McKay all have big final quarters for Bendigo. Get something going here and come storming home. Skinner for 3. That'll help. Back to 6 once more. Bendigo won't go away.
They certainly needed that basket from Skinner.
Sutton off to Cox. Nicholson tries to work her way through some screens. Draws a foul in the process.
I like the fact for Townsville that they're still trying to cut hard and through the key and making it difficult for Bendigo to guard them. You saw Nicholson there. She curled around and was making her way through the key, but it was hard. She was doing it hard.
Kuzo. Not quite get it to go on this occasion. Off the front of the iron, Maley hits it at speed. Gets quickly to the arc. Inside ball to McKay. Simple but effective. 5-point game. Kuzo spotted Mia Murray under the hoop. Good active hands there from the Fire. It'll be a Townsville, from the Spirit rather, it'll be a Townsville ball.
Great pass by Annalie. Just got it up in the air enough for McKay to catch it and not have to bring it down.
Dean Payne will take the inbound. Kuzo. Now Sutton. Nicholson hooks around, buys some space and finds two more. What have you made of Lauren's game tonight, Laurie?
Oh, I think she's been much better than she was those 3 games. I like her poise on her cut. So this last one here, you could just see that she just curled around a little bit, lost her defender, and was really confident to get that shot up quickly.
Foul there on Mia Murray. Wilson to Skinner. McLean. Skinner's got some confidence off the back of the iron. Sutton through some traffic. Look at her weave through the cones. Sets up the jump shot. Won't quite fall. And Maley has rebound number 612 for the evening.
Well, I feel like either team that can push the ball at this stage of the game, depending on their legs, is going to go a long ways to winning the game.
Maley off to Wilson. Can she get going from range? Pressure by Kuzo. Shot clock down to almost 0. She timed it perfectly and lays in the 2. Nice little floater there from Alex Wilson. Back to a 5-point game as they take the timeout with just under 7 remaining in this one at Bendigo.
You're right when you say Bendigo just will not go away. They're hanging in there, and 7 minutes left in a game. It's still anybody's ball game.
Shannon Seabaum addresses his troops. No Leilani Mitchell for the rest of the year. She's pregnant. Tessa Levy out at the moment in the protocols. Tonight, the identity of this team, Laurie, really feels like it's Annalie Maley, Alex Wilson and Megan McKay's team. They're the 3 keys to it, and you can start to build around them.
I think so, and I think that the ball needs to be in their hand. Demi Skimmer's come up with some good offensive scores. Defensively, she needs to really make sure that she stays low in the stance, and everybody defensively for Bendigo have to be accountable, and they have to talk if they're switching, but they can't let their player just go around them easily. They've got to be accountable for their own player and make sure they're disruptive, being real proactive out there.
So Maddie Garrick hasn't returned since rolling that ankle in the 2nd term. Fingers crossed for Maddie that it's nothing too serious. Bendigo have got 4 games in 8 days, so you're going to err on the side of caution at this point with all your players. Sutton. Murray from the corner. Important board there. McKay off her fingertips to Maley. And Bendigo get a look here. It's a 4-point game. 6.5 left in this one. Maley, long 3. Too long. McKay gets the offensive board. Maley drives back to the hoop. Sutton and Nicholson both there, and they foul. Maley will get to the line. She can make it a 2-point game.
See how she shot the ball, and then McKay got it, and she just blasted in straight away and was rewarded for that.
Such a dynamic bundle of energy, Annalie Maley. Tracy York says they have to hold her back. She's the type who will just go out there in the gym for hours and do all the work and want to do extras, and sometimes you've just got to hold her back from herself. Hey, you've got lots of time, you've got a long career ahead of you. You'll get there. Wonderful attitude, great teammate. She's been fantastic around the group. Gee whiz, she's played some amazing basketball this season. It's a 2-point game. Sutton, lovely find for Akuzo. Sutton, important ball. Second look here for Townsville. They now just need to settle. Home team coming at them. Murray for a big three. Critical three from the veteran. Steps up in the big moments, and she did there.
She has done that over and over in her career. When they've needed a big basket, she's been there to deliver.
Marching back out to 5. They keep Bendigo at bay once more. They've managed to keep them arm's length all night. Off the ball foul. Offensive. It's going Townsville's way. Mia Murray involved again. Here's another look. It's on McKay. So a really big 30 seconds for the veteran, Mia Murray. 15th season.
I think that was a bit of a veteran move against, veteran defense against somebody that's not quite so experienced.
Payne. Can't quite sink the dagger. Still sits at 5. Again, Maley wants to press the speed. McLean looks to feed it inboard to Skinner. Well done, Nadine Payne. Got a hand in. Now Sutton wants to take on McLean and draws a foul.
That pass was just too telegraphed. She just, Nadine Payne was just, you know, that's a great defender where you're behind, but you know that pass is going in. If you can get around and get that hand and deflection, which Payne did, really great defense.
Some critical moments here for Bendigo as Townsville surge again to try and put this game out of reach. It only sits at 5 at the moment. It got as low as 2. Townsville striving now to try and make the game safe again after Bendigo have made a big run at them in this second half. There's Tracy York sideline.
You know how we talked earlier on about what you do with your bench and your team is thinking of games ahead. Well, right now they're not thinking anything about that. They're just thinking about getting this W, getting through these last 5 minutes.
No obvious signs of fatigue right now. Players giving it everything. That might kick in a day or two. Murray puts a step on. Payne. It's a couple of the veterans. And there's Annalee Maley with the block. They're telling that they've got the ball in the hands of the likes of Nadine Payne and Mia Murray in these critical moments. They're going to their veterans who are stepping up. As the opposition surge at them, here's Nicholson. Momentarily got separation on Maley. Tough shot. Payne, big finish. Nicholson comes up with the offensive board. Townsville get another opportunity.
That's big offensive rebound. They're really scrapping for it in there.
Sutton, lovely find. Akuzo couldn't get it to finish. She looks back at the ref to say, hey, what about the foul? Nothing doing. Wilson. Next basket here just feels so important. Wilson. Golding. Great block from Mia Murray again. What a couple of minutes the 33-year-old has had at both ends of the floor. Mary Goulding taking it to the rack and Mia Murray saying,
That's great defense.
Bendigo inbound. McLean has it. Goulding wheels around. Wilson follows her in. Won't drop. Murray with the board. Sutton on the move. Pulls up at the free throw line. Big call here. Goes Bendigo's way. Out off Akuzo. Mia Murray trampling all over Lauren Nicholson.
Up she gets and off she goes.
Bendigo finds some points here. Once again, draw within a possession. They've got close a couple of times since the opening term, Laurie. Back to 2 points a couple of times, but haven't been able to quite get their nose in front. They get back to within a possession here as Skinner gives it off to McLean. Goulding from the corner. Now Sutton for the Fire. If they score next, they can just push that gap back out to a more comfortable margin once again. It's a huge bucket, this one. Can Nicholson bring it? She cannot. Maley goes the rebound. Fought for it. Payne did well. Maley fouls. And again, it's their veterans, Murray and Payne, stepping up when their team need them most. Just that last grab from Annalee, drawing the foul. As Goulding checks out. So big 2 free throws here for Nadine Payne. .78% career free throw shooter in 241 games. Vast experience, and it counts there. Back out to 7 now.
Just a nice little margin for Townsville.
Maley to Wilson. Long 3 from Wilson, not quite. McKay got a hand in there, keeps it alive for Bendigo. Maley. Can Wilson drain a 3? Not with that. She goes herself, almost had the board. Draws the foul.
Just is not dropping for Alex Wilson from the 3-point line.
I mentioned her form pre-game. She couldn't miss in the warm-ups. Something like 11 for 13. And they weren't just threes, they were long threes from out near the halfway line.
Maybe she used them all up.
Reed. Here's McLean. Oh, almost, but not quite. As the clock ticks down to around about 3 minutes. Margin sits at 7.
If they're going to shoot threes, at least have some penetration in the key, whether it's pass penetration or dribble penetration, and then kick it out to your shooters, and then you're in a good rebound position. Right now, it's just so perimeter, and I know they haven't got all the size, but they've got McKay in there.
Payne, Reed, travel, Bendigo ball. Need to score next, do the Spirit. Get this crowd behind them again. Get a bit of energy into the stadium in Bendigo. Wilson.
Townsville have gone into a zone just to mix it up. Great idea.
McLean, Wilson, McKay. Now Maley. Shot clock down to 6. And again, good hands, Nadine Payne. Another great defensive play.
Absolutely, exactly what happened before. You feel like she's behind, but you don't have pressure on her body, and she's able to get in front and get a hand.
Sutton sinks the dagger, and the margin's at 9. It's been a professional last 3 or 4 minutes from Townsville, executing a little more cleanly down the stretch at both ends, just doing the little things well.
Well, you have to credit Nadine Payne for her defense on anybody that's trying to post up, because she's done a great job of not letting them get a seal on her. So she's, backed off a little bit and then is able to get around and has been really influential.
550 games between Mia Murray and Nadine Payne, and that experience has really been telling in the final quarter. They've both been outstanding. Really stepped up for their team when they needed them.
And that's what's, when we look at the absence of Monique Billings, that's when it's great to see players like that who have had really solid seasons, don't get me wrong, but they've stepped up this game. They've filled the gap offensively and defensively. And when a team can do that, that means you've got a well-balanced team and your bench is strong.
Sharon Seabohm saying during the week that he'll be thrilled with Nadine Payne's last quarter here in this defensive effort, because he said she's really grown defensively and she's really embraced how important defense is, primarily an offensive player previously. She's really worked on that defensive work ethic and made a couple of huge plays down the stretch here for her team. So now time becomes an issue for Bendigo. We're down to the 2-minute mark. They trail by 9. Need some big plays here. Maley. They need everything to go right. There's the first 2. Now they need some stops.
They need to try and be disruptive on defense here. Get Townsville out of their flow. Don't make anything easy for them.
Reed inside, Akuzo. Wilson stands tall. Payne kicks it out. Sutton. Akuzo, big ball. Great scrap again. Somehow Maley outsized. Comes up with it.
I don't know how she got that rebound.
Wilson, Skinner, McKay. Offensive foul. Just ripped it out of Zatina's hands. And another big defensive play for the Fire. Seven-point lead, 90 seconds left. Townsville's execution's just been a little cleaner in this final term. Done the little 1%ers, the fundamentals. Just that little bit better than Bendigo. And they've executed and owned the big moments. Payne the inbound. Bendigo look to press up on Reed. McLean putting the pressure on. Hands off to Nicholson. Payne. Fantastic last quarter from her. Gets it back. Sutton inside. Akuzo's got 3 around her. Keeps it alive somehow. What an athletic play. Oh. And Sutton puts the exclamation point on. Brilliant work, Zatina Akuzo. She was horizontal when she got this ball. Flicked it to Sutton and she didn't let her down. Shawk with the sweet finish.
Did you see how she just stepped back there to make sure she had a 3? That was great. Really quick release by Sutton, and that's what you need. You always have to be ready to just catch and shoot. Be in that action. Be ready to go.
It's been a pleasing response for Shannon Seabomb's team in this final term. When Bendigo came at them, the steel was on at that point. They had the momentum, Bendigo. They had the belief. And Townsville just dug in, pushed back.
Well, you have to say Bendigo have really had a red-hot go with, as we've mentioned, Maddie Garrett going down, the players that are already missing. They've really still taken it right up to them.
Lots of promising signs for Bendigo. We've said this a couple of times, Laurie, haven't we? We've called Bendigo games. You can see pieces of their puzzle starting to come together. But yeah, without Leilani Mitchell, without Tessa Lavian, without Maddie Garrick, the talent and the experience there, you take that out of a lineup, it's hard to replace.
Well, we know Leilani's not going to be there anymore, but if you added into this game Maddie Garrick to play a full game and Levy, that's a lot more scoring punch, and they're only behind by 10 points.
Skinner off to Maley. Shot clock into single digits. Has to go herself for 3 off the front of the rim. Final minute in Bendigo. Sutton's done some nice things, some classy things in key moments. She's got it here again from Nicholson. Pressed and harassed by McKay, who now works her way back under the hoop. McKay now pushes to try and get across to Murray. Just raises the rim. Foul called. Townsville ball. Got a fresh 14 seconds. Tracy York seeking clarification. Sutton with the inbound. Short little give to Akuzo. Tries to work on Skinner. Good hands again. Maley couldn't quite haul it in. Murray does. Back to Sutton. 5 on the shot clock. Sutton sets up. She loves that spot. Can't get it to go this time. Akuzo for the finish. Had a frustrating night under the basket tonight, Satina. Done some good things, and then other times they just haven't fallen for her. Wilson's pass almost blocked by Murray. Maley, 16 seconds left. Takes one last shot. McKay. And that's another offensive foul. It's been a frustrating night for Megan McKay. She's fought so hard, crashed and bashed. Laurie, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I mean, she still, to me, seemed like she was in her cylinder. She didn't, you know, demonstratively push Lauren Nicholson. 50-50, I'm going to say.
Watch the splinters. Here's Payne. To Sutton. They press up. Final play. Nicholson happy to hang on to it. And the clock will expire. And the Fire on the board in 2022. Townsville snaps its 2-game losing streak. They improve their season to 3-2. And they'll head to Melbourne to face the Boomers in Parkville tomorrow afternoon. While it's 3 straight losses for the Spirit, they now face a quick turnaround as well. They'll recover and regroup to visit the Caps in Canberra on Sunday. And in the end, good closeout there from Townsville. Bendigo surged late. The Fire, a professional final quarter from them.
Well, I thought that they just showed a lot of poise in that last quarter. Good decision-making from the Fire in terms of their shot selection and inside-outside game. And defensively, they really, you know, on the back of Nadine Payne and a couple of really good steals on post-ups, you know, I thought defensively in that fourth quarter, they stayed pretty solid as well.
It was 15-13 in the final term. The Fire's way. The Spirit led by 2 at the first change. The Fire by 8 at halftime, by 8 at three-quarter time. The Spirit closed to within 2 in the final quarter before the Fire managed to close it out and win by 10 as Shannon Seabohm addresses his players. They are now 3-2 on the season. It was a really important final quarter and a really impressive one from the Townsville Fire, led by Steph Reid. Congratulations on the win, Steph. We mentioned that you didn't start the game, but you were checked in really early, and your grit and your tenacity and your energy really gave your side an early advantage. Well played.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a good team win.
That final quarter, Bendigo surged at you hard. They got back within 2 points. They were coming, but you must be very pleased and proud of the way that your team settled and executed down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we did a really good job in the end, keeping our lead. I mean, we let them come back a little bit, but it was nice to actually stretch it out. It's something that we've been working on. So, yeah, happy that we were able to do that and get the win.
Steph, it's Laurie Chiswick here. Great game by yourself and your teammates. In the absence of Monique Billing, did Shannon give you guys any specific instructions as to how he wanted you to handle the game?
Hey, Laurie, firstly. Yeah, we just wanted to focus on ourselves today. I think, you know, obviously we call her Billy, so having Billings out was a massive loss for us, but I think everyone did a really good job of stepping up, and, you know, we've been focusing a lot on the other team, and today Shannon had the mentality of let's focus on us, do what we do well, and I think we did that really well today.
Well, we talked about your game in particular, how over the off-season that you stayed up in Queensland to work on your game and work with Shannon, how it's paid such massive dividends out there. And you look like you're really enjoying your basketball.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this game. Can't really get enough of it. So, yeah, I'm really grateful that I was able to stay up with Shannon, and he's got a lot of trust in me, and I really appreciate that. We've worked really hard this off-season to make sure that I'm in good shape for this season. So I just love this game. I'm glad to go out there with a good team, and, you know, it's a great group of girls. So I'm excited to play every day.
You don't have much time with the turnaround when you've had to play the Melbourne Boomers tomorrow afternoon. Have you talked about them at all, or has the focus purely been on Bendigo?
We literally have not focused on anyone else but ourselves this week, especially after we had so much time off. I mean, we obviously know what they're going to run, and we worked a little bit against that. They have a few similarities with Bendigo, but yeah, we focused on ourselves this whole week, and if we can come out and do what we do well, I think we can compete with any team in this league.
Steph, Shannon told me yesterday that you're the most improved player on his team. He thinks you're the best defensive point guard in Australia, and that you should be in the Opals conversation. If not now, then very soon. Where do you feel like your game's at? Where are you on your development curve?
Oh, I didn't know it felt that way. It's really nice to hear, but yeah, I'm just trying to get better every day. I mean, I genuinely do love this game, and I love getting better. So I'm just going to keep working hard, and whatever opportunity comes is whatever it is. But I'm just making sure that what my role is for this team, I'm making sure that I'm in shape and ready to come out and do that every game.
Well, congratulations. You did a wonderful job tonight. We really enjoyed your game. Well done on the win, and best of luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Steph Reid joining us there from Bendigo. And it's refreshing to hear, isn't it? I just love the game. I just want to play. I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting better. I'm improving. I'm working with people that I enjoy working with. And, you know, the sky's the limit.
I liked her reaction when you said what Shannon was saying. She's like, oh, really?
Yeah, well, that sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah, nice to hear the coach say that about you.
Yeah, that's great. And she really has had a really good start to the season for sure.
From a Bendigo perspective, obviously losing Maddie Garrick and Tessa Lavey and obviously Leilani Mitchell for the rest of the season made life extremely difficult. One thing we love about Bendigo, and we've been saying it all year, it's appropriate that their team name is the Spirit because they showed plenty.
They did, and it's not easy to get the absence of players at the start of the game and then to have somebody of the caliber of Maddie Garrett go out in the middle of the game. It does show a lot of tenacity, spirit, that they keep going. They're not going to give up. They played at the 4 quarters. You know, they've got a few days now to regroup, not a lot. They play again on Sunday, but you know, as Tracy York said when I spoke to her, she goes, we were talking about having the month off, and she goes, well, nobody really signed up for that, but you know what? It is what it is, and we will just keep plugging away and you know, coming out every game trying to get better.
She said to me during the week, it's a bit like coaching junior basketball at the moment. You've got players coming in, players coming out. You've got little Johnny parents ringing in the night before saying he's not available to play tomorrow. You've just got to put a team together and get it on the floor. And she said that they're really happy with their system, and they believe that they can chop and change and take people in and out of their lineup, and they can still play that same system.
Well, that's the beauty of a flex offense, is that, you know, players move everywhere, so you don't just have outside players and inside players. Players can find themselves anywhere, and when you don't have a particularly tall lineup, that's a good structure to run, so that you can, you know, you have players that have that versatility.
Well, tonight's second game of the doubleheader unfortunately postponed. The Caps Flyers due to COVID restrictions. So we've now reached the halfway point of round 8. We've still got some fascinating matchups to look forward to across the weekend. Tomorrow afternoon from 5 p.m. Eastern, it's the Melbourne Boomers hosting the Townsville Fire in Parkville. So the Fire on that short turnaround, as we mentioned. Then a triple header coming away Sunday from 1 p.m. The Caps and the Spirit, the Flames and the Lynx, the Lightning and the Flyers, all COVID permitting, of course. Should be an action-packed afternoon. It'll have a significant impact on the shape of the WNBL ladder. The Boomers and the Fire. Lots to look forward to. That'll be a good game tomorrow.
I get to call that game, so I get to see Townsville in action again straight away against the Melbourne Boomers, who we know are really in form and one of the championship's favourites.
Well, that wraps up our Friday night coverage. Thanks so much for your company, Laurie. An absolute pleasure to work with you as always.
Thanks, Jace. Same with you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our entire production team, thanks for watching. Our congratulations to the Fire. They've returned to the winners list, their first win of 2022. Join us for more WNBL tomorrow from 5 p.m. Eastern. The Boomers and the Fire, right here on KO.